And so thank you very much for agreeing to take part in the pecha kucha, and thank you so much for sharing your experiences and knowledge with us. Let me share screen. And to start with, I have a list of the speakers here, which you can see on the conference website. But then I have the slides for pecha kucha that I will be monitoring and managing. I hope you can see them all right. Do you see the next slide as well, or do you see the full screen?
Just the main screen with the pecha kucha slide.
Okay, so it's as it should be. And I would then like to give the word to our first speaker, Vera.
Hello, so my name is Vera. I am a formal linguist by profession, but I've always dabbled into language teaching. And today in this short presentation, I'm trying to answer a question: how to motivate these young people who have so many other activities and interests into spending at least 1 hour every week learning a language of their parents, likely a language which none of their peers speak and maybe not even knows. And yes, these are some of my students. And yes, sports are a big competitor of heritage language learning and teaching. Next slide, please. So around 3 years ago, I started this online course aimed specifically at teenagers, and I had to ask myself, is there anything that makes this group special when it comes to learning HL, and something I need to account for? And there are multiple things. One of them, they are super busy with all their after-school activities and college prep. They are outgrowing the classical textbooks, something I could see firsthand in our regular school, when especially in the 3rd grade textbooks, the gap is widening. Students stopped even wanting to come to school because the traditional approach doesn't work for them. And we lost several students because of that. They are definitely more quiet, much less talkative. There is a big difference between having an online Zoom for 10 to 11 years old who speak one over another and too long, and these kids where you need to put lots of energy into making them say more than 2 words. They are very tech savvy, something you can use to your advantage. They are at that age when they are establishing their independence, especially from their parents, which can be tricky because you want them to learn language of their parents. At the same time, they're exploring their own identity and starting to realize, oh, this is something that can give me that extra twist, make me special. And you can definitely use that to your advantage. Next slide. So how to account for some of these challenges? One thing is you have to be super flexible with scheduling. You have to be okay that they sometimes don't turn up. So what I do, I allow tryout sessions. I allow them to paper class. I send reminders just to make sure they appear. Second thing, be very creative with materials. So what I do, I combine textbooks for foreigners with regular school textbooks and some online resources, but also not overdo it. So it has some system, and I usually change that system every semester. Include lots of conversational tasks. So it's not just about you talking to students, but them talking to each other, make them call on each other. I implement lots of technology. So lots of interactive tasks online where I share links, they share with everybody. Whiteboard on Zoom is our big friend. I let them annotate what I write down and so on. When it comes to independence, I really try to focus on those situations that make them function independently in case they go to Czechia, such as restaurant talks, sharing about their interests with their cousins and so on. And even the simplest grammar or orthography exercise always extended to their own experience. So make it somehow attached to their emotions, because we know that then they will remember things much more. And the next slide, that is really just an example how to implement some of this in practice. This is a sample lesson I did like last week, and you can go over it on your own.
And we need to finish now. That was perfect. Thank you very much, Vera. And we move on to the next one. Lela, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Hello, everyone. My name is Lela Goginova. I'm assistant professor at East European University and the director of the Center for Migration and Diaspora Studies at Grigor Bakidze University in Georgia. I'm currently pursuing a PhD in educational sciences, focusing on identity and heritage language education in Georgian Sunday schools across Europe. Next slide, please. In my research, I have examined policy documents, strategy papers, and regulatory frameworks for these Sunday schools. Additionally, I've gathered insights from teachers working with children from Georgian transnational families in Europe. And today I'm going to share with you findings, particularly on why state support is essential to motivating heritage language education, using the Georgian case as an example. The acquisition of the heritage language is, in a sense, a bilateral process. On one side, it relies on the extent to which students in this Sunday school view the language as an integral part of their identity, linking them to their cultural heritage. And on the other side, it requires the constant commitments from the country of origin to actively include 1.5 and second generation immigrants within its cultural and social network. In host countries, particularly in Europe, integration policies often emphasize the linguistic and cultural adaptation of immigrants in the host society. This approach tends to limit opportunities from promoting heritage language learning, presenting unique challenges for complementary schools. Next slide, please. Georgian Sunday schools face significant challenges in heritage language education. This includes unqualified teachers, limited training, and financial constraints, which hinder teaching quality and resource availability. A lack of tailored textbooks makes it difficult to engage immigrant children, while limited exposure to Georgian outside the classroom weakens language retention and cultural connection. They receive minimal support from their country of origin, forcing them to operate independently. Additionally, cultural and identity struggles abroad reduce children's motivation to learn Georgian. Next slide, please. So, state support plays a pivotal role in strengthening Georgian Sunday schools and advancing heritage language education. Institutional backing legitimize and promote this program, while a unified curriculum ensures high-quality instruction. Teachers' training programs enhance educators' qualification, improving students' learning experience. Recognition and validation from the state encourage pride in linguistic heritage, while support for parental engagement helps families actively participate in their children's learning. Government funding is essential for building infrastructure and sustaining these initiatives. State involvement fosters long-term cultural integration and reintegration, promoting the use of heritage language within diaspora communities and preserving cultural identity for further generation. Thank you.
Perfect timing. Thank you so much, Leila. And do we move on to Elisabeth?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Elisabeth and I'm the project coordinator of Your Language Counts. And today I want to talk about how we motivate our stakeholders. So first, maybe let me explain what our project is all about. So the EU project Your Language Counts promotes heritage language education in 3 European countries, empowering multilingual students in their identity and community by offering HL teachers a network across Europe and training specifically designed for them. We collaborate with heritage language educators, including school leaders, policymakers, caretakers, and families from varied backgrounds. And through this initiative, we aim to create awareness about the positive impact of heritage language instruction on integration and academic success. On the next slide, you can see our 8 partner organizations who are located in Sweden, Finland, and the Netherlands, Germany, and Greece. We use each other's networks at universities, NGOs, and schools to inform our stakeholders and get an understanding of what each stakeholder might need and be interested in. We work with 18 teachers in Sweden, Finland, and the Netherlands who teach 6 different heritage languages, and by providing a monthly meeting, we strengthen their network amongst each other. On the next slide, you can see that one of the most effective ways to motivate stakeholders is by showcasing the tangible outcomes of our project. We have several key deliverables, and the teacher program is one of them. After the project's end in 2026, we will publish a comprehensive heritage language handbook for teachers with the best practices, methods, and the evaluation of this project annexed. Our Dutch teachers, our Dutch partners are currently working on a detailed roadmap for policymakers to show a step-by-step plan on how to promote HLE in a country-specific context, and it tackles different directions, not only policymakers, but there will be also a chapter on family outreach as well, for example. And we also want to publish a platform for HL teachers to exchange their materials and get in touch with each other. And by highlighting these outcomes, we can demonstrate the value and impact of our project. For instance, sharing success stories from teachers who have benefited from our training programs can be inspiring to others to get involved. And regular updates on our progress, success stories, and upcoming events can keep stakeholders informed and excited. Social media platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn can be used to share quick updates and engage in conversations, while our website can host detailed information and resources. And furthermore, we have a newsletter to keep our stakeholders informed and therefore motivated to follow our project and get in touch. Thank you so much for your time.
Excellent. Thank you, Elizabeth, that was brilliant. And our next speaker is Sue Colliver. Sue, now we don't hear you, I think.
Can you hear?
Yeah. No. That's not good. It worked before.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. No. Sorry,
Can you hear
everybody.
me now?
Yes,
Okay.
but not very well, though. It's kind of popping in and out.
She might have to take off her headset.
What if you take off your headset? Sorry.
Me now.
Yeah, let's do it that way.
It will do it this way. So let's start.
Sorry.
Sue Golliver, apologies for that. And I'm talking about how human rights can motivate politicians. But next slide, and let's start by imagining, thank you. Imagining a life in which you're not able to express yourself in your heritage language. How would this disadvantage you socially, economically, culturally? How would it impact on your civil and political well-being? And would you be living a dignified life? And by dignified, I refer to the moral and aspirational framework of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 1 states, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Linguistic human rights are the fundamental and basic language rights required to live a life of dignity. The right to express ourselves in our own language in private and public settings recognizes that heritage languages are an essential part of living a dignified life. Article 30 of the 1989 legally binding Convention on the Rights of the Child states that children should not be denied the right to use their own languages. If we move to the next slide, Renata, we can see that the right to use the heritage language, I think you're going to have to push it again because the whole slide hasn't appeared yet. The right to use the heritage language can be understood from a moral, legal, and also political perspective. National governments are primarily responsible for ensuring human rights compliance, but compliance depends on key stakeholders' awareness and knowledge of and critical engagement with human rights as an effective moral, legal, and political tool to advocate for children's linguistic rights in schools. But unfortunately, we hear far too often government officials, including teachers, pointing out the absence of human rights education in their professional development, leaving us, you'll need to push it again, Renata, yeah, leaving us to consider the role of the state as a promoter of complacency rather than compliance. Next slide, last slide. And so going back to the title, can human rights motivate politicians to support heritage language learning? I would argue without human rights education, no. The absence of human rights education allows complacency towards the increasing linguistic and cultural diversity in our schools, and it negates our children's linguistic human rights and ultimately their freedom to live a dignified life. But then I would argue with critical human rights education, yes. Research shows us that effective human rights education engages diverse stakeholders in critical dialogues about the role of human rights, including heritage language. It creates a space to critically challenge monolingual education systems that tend to focus on the management of diversity. Critical human rights education encourages us instead to learn to live and enjoy living with linguistic and cultural diversity. Thank you, and apologies.
Thank you so much, Sue. And the next speaker is Gizi Canizzaro.
Hello, my name is Gizi Canizzaro, and I am the founder of FOHLC Network, which brings together heritage language programs in Eindhoven and beyond. Let's talk about the global call to action. Next slide, please. As you know, advocates for regional minority languages like Catalan, Welsh, and Frisian are well aligned, as are the supporters of indigenous languages. But what about the migrant minority languages, or whatever you prefer to call us? Shouldn't we be aligned across languages and countries? Last year, FOHLC Network helped set up a global heritage language think tank together with a group of researchers and coalition leaders from across the world. As part of the think tank, I led an action group to create a global call to action for heritage language education. because no matter where you are, there is usually a mismatch between how important this education is and how difficult it is to sustain. So a global issue needs a global movement. We launched a 15-page call to action on UN Mother Language Day this February. People pledged support via social media using images we made available in a few different languages. In the global call to action, we named many different stakeholders. Next slide, please. The stakeholders are outlined on this new checklist that now accompanies the global call to action. The stakeholders are the purple ovals: heritage language learners themselves, their caregivers, mainstream school staff, and of course, heritage language teachers and program managers. We also include libraries, universities, businesses, nonprofits, journalists, and of course, government. With this checklist, you see in one glance that, yes, there is a lot of work that needs to be done, but it should be achievable if each stakeholder does their part. When printed as a flyer, this checklist is nice because people hold it in their hands, they look for their section, and they see a few specific actions, each one with a little checkbox next to it, which motivates them to get out a pen and mark the ones they'll do. Next slide, please. Even though it was launched a half a year ago, the global call to action is not over. We will keep spreading the message. Check out this fun photo booth from our last event. These signs that the people are holding are available on our website for download. So, will this spark change? Will the global call to action actually lead to improved circumstances for heritage language educators? I think it's possible. First, because so few people are aware of the importance of this form of education, it's easy to raise awareness about it. Also, having a unified message should lead to greater impact than if we are each advocating on our own. So we hope you will use these tools, and please let us know if you're interested in having any of them translated. And I'll take this opportunity with my last 10 seconds to say thank you to all of you so much for the important work that you do.
Thank you so much, Gizi, for your contribution. And our next speaker is Laura Seidel-Elkemer. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Now I lost my Word document. My name is Laura. I'm the director of the Klokhuis. And together with Vele, my assistant director, we work with a team of 50 teachers to keep up the Dutch language for 400 students. And we do this over 25 years. In New York area and surroundings, this means 3 hours a week in person. If they choose to go to a location, or 1.5 hour online classes. And a lot is similar to what Vera said already. We motivate a team since, that's the slide. We motivate a team since they have the important role of teaching with fun and integrity, and if they are motivated, they will bring this over to the students. Without the teachers, we are nowhere. We motivate them by having a good team spirit. They know we value them, and appreciation goes a long way. And with a lot of branding, we make that team spirit more work. Next slide, please. The students are in the school already. I mean, the parents found us. And so we teach the class with a lot of materials attractively. And so the students keep going for that. The more they are interested, the longer they stay in the program, and create a possibility to even go study in the Netherlands if they want to. And some parents see that as a big advantage because the US is very expensive to study here. Culture is in the roots of the parents and therefore important for the kids to experience. This time of the year, today we're working hard to get the Sinterklaas party for tomorrow going, which you can see in the picture. Making the culture part of the teaching makes it not only fun, but also an important role of the Dutch language. Celebrating successes make the students even more motivated. Certificates, diplomas, stickers, all you can think of, with all the touch of the icons of the Klokhuis. It makes it a whole thing. And the last slide. Of course, the parents, last slide, please. Sorry. And last but not least, the parents. Of course, they are the important people. When the kids are happy and they feel safe to come to class, it's a big motivation for the parents to keep supporting their children with homework, etc. That makes the circle round. Happy teachers, happy kids, happy parents. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura, for your contribution. And our next speaker would be Gabrielle Durana.
Hello, everyone. I'm joining you from San Francisco, California. I am the founder and the executive director of a nonprofit part-time school based in San Francisco Bay Area teaching French to children who cannot access the French lycée. There are several of them, but they're very expensive in our very expensive San Francisco beautiful Bay. I was asked to explain how to motivate school administrators, since I am a school administrator, and how to keep this going. And so I was asked a long time ago to talk about what my secret sauce was, and I was like, I don't know what a secret sauce is. It's an American expression that means like, what's your secret recipe that makes your dish particularly palatable or particularly feeding and nurturing. So it took me a while to figure out what the answer to this question was, and I'm going to share in a few minutes what the secret sauce of our nonprofit has been. It's really 4 things. I won't go into detail because I don't have the time, but we have given a lot of time and energy in thinking about our business model. I know it sounds very strange when you talk about the nonprofit business model, but in fact, we cannot sustain ourselves if we don't have a business model. So I encourage you to look in Google at the article called the 10 most common business models for nonprofits. The 10 most common business models for nonprofits. It's an article published by the Stanford Social Innovation Review, and read it. It's a long article, but it's very enlightening. The second thing that I think has been a pillar of our success and sustainability has been our culture. We have thrived on a culture of innovation, and we have built a high trust culture. So we make mistakes, but in our team, we're a team. But in fact, we accept that we will make mistakes, and we will succeed together, and we will pick up the pieces of our mistakes together. And so that has created a very successful culture. I also, so not being able to go into how you build this culture, I encourage you to research how to build a culture of innovation and a high trust culture for your own organization. Next slide.
We're coming to the 3-minute limit, so please go quickly.
The last 2 things is, I think you will be able to sustain yourself and your organization over the years if you always remember why you do this. I wake up in the morning thinking that not that I run a nonprofit that is struggling with money and receives no governmental help. I wake up in the morning thinking that I'm correcting an injustice because there are so many children of French immigrants who cannot access the French schools, and that being grounded in linguistic justice and being able to have a life where I enact my values is extremely empowering and regenerating for my commitment as a leader and the commitment of our team. And the last part is really thinking about the future, envisioning the future. And for us, it has meant that we're constantly focused on financial and organizational and people sustainability, as well as what are the new projects that we want to see. And those things really nurture our intrinsic motivation to keep at this, even though, again, the French government is totally indifferent to the situation of the children who cannot go to the French schools. Thank you for your attention, and feel free to contact me. Yes, this is my information. I'd be happy to share our expertise and learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle, and sorry about the mix-up with the slides. Now we have Jurgita Motie United talking about teachers' motivation.
Hello, I'm a teacher in Lithuanian mother tongue school in Iceland, and we all know from our experience that motivation is very important to achieve good results in any job. There are many ways to motivate teachers. There are not so many ways to motivate heritage language teachers who are volunteers at community-based heritage language schools. So I would like to tell you one good story of success created by our teachers. Our school was established in Reykjavik in 2004. There are 13 teachers and school assistants at the moment and 75 students aged 2 to 14 years. We have lessons and after-school clubs every Saturday. There are 7 grades organized by the age and abilities of the student. School is supported by payments from parents, Reykjavik municipality, Lithuanian Association in Iceland, and Modern organization, also by occasional grants from Lithuanian Ministry of Education. So next slide. The teachers collective in our school is a small community passionate about what they do. But there is always room for additional motivation. One of the measures was our trip to London to visit Lithuanian heritage language schools there in 2023. We researched and planned visits to schools famous for their long years of teaching, methods, and results. We also did some fundraising to collect the money for the trip for all 13 teachers. When all fundraising and planning was done, we went to unforgettable trip where we visited 2 schools. One is run on Saturdays like ours. Lessons are taught in rental facilities. Another school is run as kindergarten supported by municipality and state in their own building with Lithuanian speaking staff and Lithuanian heritage language school on Saturdays. We have also done some sightseeing and had evenings for our endless discussion of school matters. The next slide. So what have we achieved with this trip? We gained experience. We watched the teachers and teaching organized in our Lithuanian heritage language schools. We talked to the staff and school leaders. We learned new things. Some of them we have already started to implement in our school. We have met new and interesting people. We compared where we stand as a school. We did some team building and have got stronger as a team. During our conversations and discussions, we were reflecting on our trip experience and our work. And of course, we have been inspired and motivated for our future work at our school. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jurgita. And our next speakers are Karol and Adrian about the Polish Complementary School.
Hi everyone, my name is Karol and I'm presenting from Polish Weekend School SEN. We're the biggest Polish school in Ireland. We have about 50 teachers and then about 60 staff altogether and over 700 students. So next March we'll be celebrating 15 years of teaching. And I'm very proud of my school as over the years I've been a student from the very start, and it's a great opportunity to teach there now and see how much it has grown. So today I'll tell you about how you can motivate your own students to become teachers in your heritage language schools. Next slide, please. So at the moment, I'm a maths teacher in my public school, teaching 9 and 10-year-olds and some of the old students about 15 years old. And what primarily motivated me was that for me, Saturdays are synonymous with Polish school. I tell this to everyone that I meet, all of my friends, that all of my Irish friends, which they don't understand, how I can get up every week on a Saturday. And I was able to go to school at that time, even though I was waking up. And furthermore, I have to wake up even earlier because my mom teaches at the Polish school. She's the manager of the preschool. So of course that was a big influence for me to become a teacher. As well as that, the main thing that motivated me as well was keeping in touch with my friends. For example, Adrian is one of my best friends that I have gained throughout my whole life, and especially sharing that experience of being in the same school for 14 years was a great motivator, as I can still keep in touch with him. And as you can see on the photo, I can still keep in touch with my friends. They're still in school, so it's nice to be a teacher and then them having to be students. And as well as that, I've made great friends through the teachers that were role models for me throughout my time as a student, and it helped me a lot to know that I'd like to be a teacher in the school. Maybe not a teacher for my whole life, but definitely a teacher in my public school. Next slide.
So now this is my part. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's great. Sorry if there's noises. I'm on public transport right now. So my name is Adrian. I'm a history teacher at the Polish school. I've been there for probably 1 year as I finished my semester a year prior. I wanted to become a history professor originally, which motivated me to actually teach in Polish school. I love history, so it's great to be able to actually teach the subject I really deeply love. Saturday was also like always just a day synonymous with Polish school, always like waking up to go and see my Polish friends and stuff, and I still keep in touch with a bunch of them.
Okay, Adrian, I need to ask you also to speed up. The 3-minute limit is reached now.
Okay, I will speed run this as quickly as possible. It is fun to be able to impart knowledge and teach all the children each year. Like I have a new class, which is very interesting, and it's very fun to like befriend all of the staff that like taught me throughout all my childhood, and I still like remember some of the slides I teach the kids from my own teaching in the school. And that should be everything, I think.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Adrian. Thank you for joining us. And then we will have our final speaker, Joanna. Go ahead.
Thank you, Renata. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Joanna Seremuga from Sprachcafé Polnisch in Berlin. And next slide, please. Sprachcafé Polnisch is a special space dedicated to Polish language and culture. We've been active in Berlin since 2012. And in 2023, we opened our second location in the south of the city. Our activities focus on language learning and cultural exchange, including music, art, and literature. We also support multilingualism in families through projects like Sprachcafé im Ohr. Families are at the heart of our community. We run regular children's groups, events, and workshops for families, emphasizing the importance of reading in home languages, in our case, in the Polish language. Next, please. One of our main goals is to motivate children to read in Polish. So let me share some of the ways we do this. We have a mini Polish library for children with books for all age groups. This specially curated collection includes titles that match children's interests. Families can visit it before or after group meetings or events. And the library is a cozy space with sofas and armchairs, making it an inviting place to browse our collection and to read. We also host special events like World Book Day or Germany's FOHLC Tag, so Read Aloud Day, or Christmas celebrations with Christmas reading. Meetings with children's authors make these events even more special. During group meetings, we use story time to wrap up classes, and we also offer interactive read aloud activities for younger children. Next, please. Yeah.
Sorry.
So next. Now, a few more ideas to inspire reading in home languages. We collaborate with local libraries, not only by participating in their events, but also by donating Polish books to their collections. We gather book recommendations from parents and educators and share them in newsletters and soon also on our website, making it easier for families to find great reads. We also encourage parents to lead by example. So we organize book clubs for parents in Polish and English. We've created a book crossing zone, książkodzielnia, where parents can take Polish books home. And we organize meetings with writers, as we strongly believe that parents who read inspire children to read. Additionally, we offer book swaps and book sales, which are also popular and a great way to discover new favorites. So at Sprachcafé Polnisch, we believe that fostering a love for reading in home languages helps children maintain their connection to the language while building their strong literacy skills. So thank you for your attention, and feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to discuss this further, or maybe if you have any other ideas, I'll be happy to exchange thoughts. Thank you.
And I thank you all very much for all your very, very inspiring presentations.